Hello, my spooky friends. It is Stacy. Are you looking to kick it up in your Halloween and your cosplay game and you don't want to spend tons of money? Where I have a beginner and a budget friendly tutorial for you to try. I'm going to show you how to create keloid scars out of gelatin, how to apply them and color them for your skin tone using products that you might have around the house. If you don't, these items you can easily find at the grocery store. So let's just go ahead and get into it. Today I'm using pre-mixed gelatin, so if you need to know how to mix it, go to the link in the description below. It's an extensive tutorial on how to mix, color, and store gelatin. But today for coloration, I'm using a brown grease paint, some matte eyeshadows, and I'll be going back and forth between the colors here for skin tone. And then also I will be using food coloring. This is the color called coffee. But if you don't have that, a red and green will give you a color of brown. So if you need to mix those are the colors that you need to actually use. Now, just a little bit, because a little bit goes a long way, I'm just cutting up this pre-made gelatin that I've had sitting around. I like to use things and not waste things. That's what we're here about on the channel, to save money, time, and use what you already have. Now I heat this up in the microwave for about 9 seconds. It's going to depend on your microwave and how thick your actual gelatin is, but I did find that the food coloring did mix very well, but I had some bubbles in it and you'll see that later on, so don't mix as vigorously as I did with this one. But I'm letting the gelatin fall off in a blob and then moving the top of it to make my shapes onto this Ziploc bag. Now this is where you get to play and have some fun creating different kind of shapes. It can be in a long string, it can be a big blob, and don't worry about these small little strings that are coming off, because most of the time you have to trim those a little bit anyway, and that's just the nature of gelatin, so don't get hung up about that. It's a real easy fix once it dries. And I had about 30 minutes to work with this. If you need the rest of this and you want to get the maximum use, when your gelatin starts to string instead of pull off of the spatula, it's time to pop that back in the microwave for a couple more seconds. Now for the next color tone, I'm going in with a brown grease paint. This is what you could find at Spirit Halloween and at Walmart. This is the wolf color is what they call it. So a little bit will go a long way. And I stir that in after popping it into the microwave. And you can see that I'm actually getting pull in the bowl itself. So what I like to do is once I heat it up, I go back in, and I want this formula to be a little bit more runny than the last one and get rid of those air bubbles, so I'm adding a little bit of glycerin and then also adding just a touch of water and mixing that together. No exact measurements, just a little dab idea, because once you pop that back in the microwave, you can see that the viscosity is a little bit more runny, which was the actual thing that I needed compared to the first one to get rid of those bubbles and to actually be able to push this onto the Ziploc bag and create shapes. I had a little bit more control, and I also had a lot more time to work with it, about almost about a minute. So now that I have cooler and warmer tone browns, I'm going toward the just more of the flesh color, because keloids, they can be purple, they can be red, they can be skin tone, hardly any color in them. And what I'm doing is I'm using a matte eyeshadow and scraping that into the bowl. Again, popping it into the microwave, getting everything mixed, then going back and forth with a little bit of glycerin and water to get the consistency and the viscosity that I need. Just make sure that your eyeshadow is a matte and not anything with a sparkle or a shimmer in it, and that will take it a long way in the coloration. And that's what professionals do. They actually use the pigment powders, and those are very expensive. So you have eyeshadow, give it a go and see if you find some skin tones that you like. Again, going onto the Ziploc bag and creating more shapes. And for the next tone of color, I'm going in with a little bit of eyeshadow. After I added some glycerin and some water, and I'm pushing that eyeshadow in, I want that flesh tone, but then I'm also going in with some food coloring, and I'm adding a little bit of purple for this mix. The purple I'm using is already pre-mixed and it's called taro, but if you do not have purple, you can mix food coloring of red and blue that will give you a purple tone. And with coloring any gelatin, any colors that you put it in, start with small amounts and then build that up. So this is the coloration that most of my scars grow in. It's this fleshy brownish tone with a little bit of purple and going in and making more shapes. Now I did find that the grease paint and the food coloring along with the eyeshadow did mix well when you needed to warm it up and incorporate it into the gelatin, but you can use a lot of things to color gelatin, but these are the items I thought that you could find at the grocery store or you might have already in your makeup bag. And so give those a go, play with it, have different colors and textures. So here is the purple and the flesh tone from the eyeshadow. And I found out that the coffee color from the food coloring gave this brown more of a green tone to it. And the brown grease paint was more in a warmer tone. So that's a nice warm brown if you're looking for that. The last coloration is the eyeshadow pigment, which brings it more to a true flesh color. You can also use a foundation for this step if you're looking to bring it to that full skin tone and you have a foundation that matches. Now here is a quick tip. Do not get rid of and throw away your gelatin just because it's dried on your tools. If you're using proper tools that you can remove it from, store it, keep it, because you see that a little bit goes a long way. You might need a little bit of gelatin to fix a gap in your prosthetic makeup or for something else to add small minor details. It's great for doing wound details inside of the skin. So you see that it peels off very easy and you already have it colored. So save it, because also once you save this little bit, it actually heats up a lot quicker because it's a very thin material. But I do want to remind you guys again that if you're looking to create gelatin in several different viscosities and how to color it with a more extensive tutorial, I do have that linked below. But gelatin will last for a very long time if it's properly stored. This was a 2-year-old mix, so you see that it warmed up just fine. And here are all the tones compared side by side. Now this is a cardboard that was a cereal box. And in order to be more portable, if you're having to go to the set or you're going to have to do your makeup at a Comic Con, you can pre-make these, but tear your Ziplocs on the side that doesn't have the zip portion. Put your gelatin on top of that, fold the plastic over and zip it back with the feature from the Ziploc bag, and then place it on to your source to use to be portable. That's what I did because I'm moving on to a location. So here is the application. And today I am using Spirit Gum as my adhesive, but you do not have to do this process if you're actually putting this on clean skin and you're actually making your shapes onto your skin as your gelatin is warm. It will stick to skin and stay, but I would recommend if you're going to be at a Comic Con or you have an actor or someone you're working with that's at a haunted horror house attraction and you need to have that makeup last a long time, just secure it with the adhesive around on the edges. Now I'm going back and forth with my two tones here. Wanted to show you that how easy it was to just carry it into a new space, and I'm placing that over the area of the adhesive, and I'm making sure that these are together and very close, because that's how keloids actually grow. And a little bit of trimming on most of all of the ones that I created. You want to trim and move that around in an area that you don't have a deep cut, so make sure you still give yourself a little bit of a thin edge. And the fun part about making keloids and the ones that are on the face, I've seen mostly those that are in the jaw, which are darker in color because of the shadow up under the chin, but also the different colorations that keloids can grow and the shape. So I'm just making sure that I'm placing them right up next to each other for a more of a dramatic effect. And also a lot of keloids grow on the ear for a lot of people. So that is the reason why I chose to add this to the face. And also I didn't see a lot of tutorials that have keloids on the face, which I think is probably the most that are bothersome for people. You know what I mean? But it was time for art to go. I got these off of Etsy, great place to pick up some horror jewelry. And again, going back and forth with the Spirit Gum and adding those darker keloids onto the ear. I'm now going in with a little bit of setting powder to get rid of the shine from the adhesive. And this is, don't be alarmed because it's going to take away the shine of the keloid itself, but there is a fix for that. But hey, if you're enjoying yourself, why not hit that like button? It will let me know that I'm doing a good job. And perhaps subscribe because I am going to do another scar series for a burn scar that is actually healed. So if you don't want to miss that, click that button to be notified. I'm going in with a taupe eyeshadow because it's a cool tone and it will also match the purple I put in when I colored this gelatin. And I'm just going around with a thin brush and creating a little bit of irritation from the skin up onto the keloid itself. Now to bring back the shine of these keloids, because it is skin that's tight, I am using a little bit of Vaseline with a Q-tip and going in and cleaning up every keloid that's on the face. This is just to remove the powder and to bring back that shine. But yes, that's it. That's how you fix that. So here is the final look. You can see that different placements and different colorings and tones. So I hope you guys enjoyed hanging out with me today and found this tutorial useful. Do come back next week when I'm doing another contracture scar, which is going to be a healed burn on the face and neck. But if you're looking for a super easy scar tutorial to do, check out this next video where I create an indented scar into the face using rigid collodion. I will see you guys next time. Bye.